IBM Security Guardium Smarter Data Protection webinar. If anybody has any questions, you can kind of raise your hand. There's a little icon there. So feel free to, ask, and I'm going to start the presentation. And there we go. So here's kind of our agenda for today. So introductions, who we are, kind of an overview of Guardium and the reasons for it, kind of what the market looks like. What the Guardium Portfolio is, a little bit about Cloud Pak for security. If you're familiar with IBM and their products, everything is starting to come in these Cloud Paks. So it's good to know what's out there because it's kind of the future. And then official Q&A at the end. But if you have any questions, again, you can ask them at any time. So moving on. So who we are, so my name is Mark Martina, the guy in the top left. I'm a system architect and managing partner with TechD. We're a premier IBM business partner, so we don't just resell, we also implement all types of software involving data and security, IBM and others as well. And with me I have Brad, Jenny, Phil, and Gabe. There's some friendly faces that you'll see usually when you're dealing with TechD. And, okay, so moving on. So where are we at? What are we looking for? All right, let's start with the data. So IBM Guardium, Smarter Data Protection. All right, so what are the reasons for it? All right, everybody's got a lot of data, but there's a lot of uncertainty. Compliance regulation seems to be becoming bigger and bigger. There's GDPR originally in Europe. California kind of followed suit with some CPAA, I think it's called. From what I hear, New York is going to follow next, and all the states are going to have something different. So compliance is a big deal. Privacy risk is always a problem, and operational complexity is also an issue, and comboed with compliance is never a good thing. So there's a lot of reasons why you need some type of security layer. Current state of data. So here's kind of where data is going. Obviously, we know data is increasing every year. 2.5 quintillion bytes. I don't even know what a quintillion is. We'll just say there's a lot of data created daily. I think we all know it. We all have it. Customer records, this, that, 360 view, IoT information, all these different types of things. 3.5 million predicted shortfall of cybersecurity jobs. It's never a good thing, but if your software is easy enough, works well enough, you can kind of just convert like a standard anybody to actually do a lot of these security products, especially things like Guardium. You don't have to be a security expert, you just have to know how to point and click, which is kind of nice. 50% security risk stems from having multiple disparate vendors and products. Yep, we know that's definitely the case. We'll experience recurring material breaches in the next 2 years, 27%. I'm pretty sure my security number is in the hands of dozens of people in Europe and Asia as we speak, between all the different Experian and this, that, and everything else, data breaches. So you don't want to be one of those people. It's not good for you. It's not good for your stock. Organizations need smarter data protection, and IBM is definitely moving that way, especially with integration of AI. Anything with the word Watson in front of it means AI. Watson's being embedded with pretty much anything and everything IBM has, including security, including Guardium. So our goal is to understand data risk, to reduce risk with less effort. As I said before, you don't need a pro. You just need somebody to do some pointing and clicking, a lot less effort. And then to adopt new technologies. You want to make sure it works with whatever you bring in or whatever you go into. Pretty straightforward, right? So here's a little bit more of a drill through, all right? Insight, automate discovery and classification of structured, unstructured data. Rather than going through hundreds of tables, thousands of tables, tens of thousands of columns, it's nice to just have the software, click a go button, have it actually scan everything, and tell you exactly what's out there, which should be protected, which shouldn't be. Classification of all your different data. Vulnerability assessment. If you have nothing now and you want to start, obviously you want to start with your most valuable data and the most vulnerable data, kind of work from there. Activity monitoring, reporting, and audit trails, important, especially with all these government regulations. Again, GDPR, California Protection Act, and whatever else is coming out next. And then an easy to understand, customizable dashboard. Automate with purpose, right? So you want these things to actually work for you. Again, you want strong security, but you want usable, and you want it to kind of do things on its own. right? So predictive analytics with machine learning, again, all that AI stuff is kind of built in, so that's pretty important. And so IBM is kind of a front runner with all of that, and it shows up in all of their technology, not just Guardium. Real-time access-based controls, so you want to be able to stop something as it's happening, not a day later. Threat investigation, that's excellent with audit logs, who did what, when, where, and again, accelerated audit process and workflows. So they actually have some things that are built in to make your life a lot easier, including things like reporting, GDPR, CPAA, and whatnot. Scale as you innovate, right? Whatever your environment looks like now, it is not going to look like that 2 or 3 years from now. So you want to make sure that whatever you do kind of goes with it, grows with you. And that's one of the things that'll do that. Guardium will grow with you. It connects to anything and everything. New technologies come out, it'll just attach to those new technologies seamlessly. No fuss, no muss. Okay, so we're talking about Guardium. Right? So Guardium is not a product. It's kind of a brand of products designed to actually, protect your data, either flat file, unstructured data. So a lot of people don't realize they kind of skip that a little bit, or database data, things like Hadoop, DB2, Oracle, SQL Server, anything in the cloud, mainframes. So any repository that actually contains data, Guardium will sit on top of. Right? Again, flat files tend to be missed by a lot of people. So a lot of people use file shares to contain usually snippets of data from your secure databases. But once they hit the file share, all your security's gone. Well, Guardium takes care of that. So rather than having a file share that, to be honest, is kind of dumb when it comes to security, it's a switch. Either it's on or it's off. So either you have security or you don't have the security at all. Guardium will actually take it to the next level. Who's accessing it? When are they accessing it? What are they accessing? How many times do they access it? How many things are they accessing in parallel? Maybe they're copying the entire drive and they want to get the heck out of here. So it takes care of all that, along with actually securing your database as well. So most people think about it from database perspective, but they kind of miss the flat files too, and that's kind of a big weakness in a lot of people's security. You could have the best database security, but then users will put stuff in a file system that takes it all away. So again, we're covering you there. All right, return on investment, 343%. That's probably a pretty strong number. Guardium is one of the few solutions we found that can do it all. The coverage across different database platforms is very good, better than anything else that's on the market from an insurance company. I'll be honest, strong product, easy to use, constantly updated by IBM, pretty slick web interface, intuitive, and strong. Right? And the benefits, the ROI. If there's a data breach that this prevents, the ROI is probably a lot higher than 343% if you actually are avoiding something like that, and there's a good chance you are. So it's probably an average. I think a few people probably shot off the screen with this one. Here's a couple just testimonies, generic, from customers that are using data protection. Because we use Guardium and it's monitored 24/7, I sleep a lot better at night. It's always a good thing. So does my management team. I'll be honest, I go to a lot of places that are extremely secure, and they have no security on their databases, no security on any of their file systems. And when I say secure, I can't get in the building without an escort. You need a smart card to actually access your PC. But literally, everything is kind of open up. They've got one password for their entire database. Anybody can do anything, anytime. And I just don't get it. Once you're in, you have access to everything, and there's very little auditing involved. So you don't just want to secure things, you want to audit things. So if something does happen, maybe the person did have access to it, you want to know who accessed it, when, and how. And I just don't see that in a lot of places, even though, again, they have ironclad security to get in the front door. Once you're there, it's not that secure anymore. Right? So, and there's a few more here. Guardium's a huge product for us to utilize. Prior to having that, there was a lot of mystery around what was happening with our data. We've gained as a view of where our data is going and what it's being used for. Again, people just give out access to their database. If you have access to it, great. If you don't, you don't. There might be some kind of auditing logs, but nobody looks at them, and now you're taking it not just your data from one data source, from all your sources. You're giving it that common interface with reporting, auditing, and security. So it's a big difference. This one's also a pretty good one too. A fast start without having to build up things from scratch. So there's a lot of fast start built into the system itself. It automatically will scan the system, come back with what information should be protected, more so than others, so security numbers, credit card numbers, date of birth, things like that for people's names and so forth. It also has like predefined reports for auditing that are already done, so you don't have to worry about it, GDPR, CPAA, variety of other things, and then whatever comes out in the future, whether it's with New York, I think they're going to probably be the next big one, or any other kind of state, they'll have all that built in for you to make your life a lot easier. Right. And of course, scaling is a big deal. So our old solution did not scale as well. Now we add more databases at the same time. Teams can absorb into their daily workload without us having to hire new people. So if you have 10 databases today, next week you have 12 databases. 2 more databases will show up in the Guardium. There's nothing really to do above and beyond. The system will just take care of it. You're still monitoring the same system. You're still looking at the same reports. There's just another database or two. So 1, it's going to grow with you, and 2, the workload's not going to really increase. Once you're up and ready with Guardium, you don't really need to learn more, train more, hire a lot of bodies. If the people can handle 10 databases, they can handle 20 or 30. It's not a big deal. Or 100 or 1,000, depending on what your system looks like. Right. All right. Smarter data platform, transforming your business into a security-rich environment. So if you see here down at the bottom, it's kind of an important one, deployment models. All right. So this is, a lot of people go into the cloud. Guardium goes to the cloud with you. So it's not something that's necessarily just securing your local environment. It's also potentially securing the cloud as well. So hardware, software, VMs, anything on-prem you have, fine. Any type of SaaS or managed service. If you have cloud databases on AWS, Azure, IBM, Google, Oracle, pretty much anything and everything, it'll work fine. Then also works great for the hybrid. So half the time you're kind of migrating slowly to the cloud, or some things are going to migrate, some are not. But you still get that same interface that's able to actually guard everything, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud. Right? So that's kind of what you want. You don't want to all of a sudden, we're going to the cloud, so now all of our tools are going to change. I need to learn now another set of tools. I need to buy another set of tools. That's not how it works. All right? So Guardium can work for the cloud or on-prem or both simultaneously. So if you do some type of migration to the cloud, you don't have to worry about training. Right? There's enough confusion and enough issues with people going to the cloud as is. You do not want to add to those problems. Right? And this will take it all away. It'll just seamlessly adopt the new technology, and you're good to go. Right? But if you do go to the cloud, it's great because it'll tell you out your data sources which one have the secure data, where it's at, so it reduces your risk a lot. And again, it's a seamless adoption of new technology. So if you bring in a new database, you bring in some type of cloud technology you didn't have before, no big deal. Guardium just hooks into it as it would anything else. From an actual user point of view, from an administrator point of view of Guardium, they're really not going to know the difference. It's just another box that they check. Right. All right. Smarter data protection framework, how do products work together? So I said before, Guardium is not really a product. It's more like a grouping of products. Right? So some of them are Guardium Analyzer, Vulnerability Assessment from Guardium, Guardium Big Data Intelligence, Guardium Data Protection, Guardium Data Encryption, Security Key Life Cycle Manager. So these are all these different products that come under the Guardium category, right? The Guardium family of products. And depending on what you want to do, certain ones are possibly more advantageous than others, but all of them together kind of give you that complete 360-degree protection of your data. We'll go into each in the product in a little bit more detail. All right, let's start with smarter data protection. All right. So, data protection. monitors and audits all data activity with visibility to all transactions and all platforms by users, including database administrators, developers, personnel, and applications. One thing that's very important and one thing that's really good to know is that it doesn't just audit users, it will also audit the administrators. I find that that's always one kind of backdoor security hole. So you have all this different security, and it all locks out all these different users and audits all these different users. But the administrators seem to always have that back door. They don't have to use that security view. They can go to the real table. They can do this, that, whatever. They kind of get by it. It doesn't really work that way anymore. So now, anytime a user logs on, we know who logged on. We know what IP address they logged on for. If they're running SQL statements, we know what the SQL statement is. We know what it brought back. We know if they're bringing back data that's considered secure, it's categorized secure, not categorized secure. All right? So it enforces protection even against the administrators of your data and your databases. All right, and it investigates abnormal activity. Again, one thing that I never really realized and still kind of working with the Guardium is, just because I have access to something doesn't mean I should necessarily be using it or using it that way. Here's an example. All right, well, I'm supposed to be doing some type of reporting. I'm some type of analyst, and I'm pulling data from the system. I pull year-over-year reports and things like that. Well, one day, instead of just doing a normal pull, I'm doing something that looks more like a data dump. I'm just selecting massive amounts of data. And maybe it's because I'm an angry employee and I want to use it, or maybe somebody's stolen my ID and they're doing it, right? So I'm not actually doing anything that looks like a report. I'm just doing something that looks like I'm pulling everybody's, credit card information and address and name, and that's it, in mass amounts. That's a red flag, and it actually can check for that automatically and cut the person off. Right, and actually email everybody, alert through an email, a text message, whatever you want. All right, so that's enforcing your actual protection. All right, and then accelerates compliance. Again, there's a lot of built-in auditing data and tables and reports that comes with right out of the gate. There'll be GDPR reports, CPAA reports, and whatever else you want to create. So again, it speeds everything up. So it doesn't just lock it down, it speeds it up. Next is vulnerability assessment. This one's great. It literally just scans your entire system, your entire infrastructure, right? And I'll actually come back with a score, right? And tell you things it doesn't like, things it does like, and gives you kind of a starting point, right? In this case, in a little example here, it's using SAP HANA dashboard. So I guess somebody has SAP and they're using HANA, and it's actually telling you about different vulnerabilities and different categories of vulnerabilities. And so it's a good starting point for somebody who's really doesn't know where they're at, where they're going. It's a great place to start. Right? And they'll generate reports, which you can view, share, and it gives a great way to remediate your issues. So it actually gives you recommendations on things it wants you to do to make your system more secure. Right? That's why all these products kind of go together and are all under the Guardium umbrella. Every product kind of adds to the other and fills one of the holes. And then when you put them all together, all the holes are filled. Encryption Portfolio. Okay. So Guardium Data Encryption provides advanced encryption capabilities for on-prem databases, tokenization, encryption, built-in key management. One thing that's actually pretty slick is that it doesn't necessarily have to encrypt the physical data itself. It can actually just encrypt it as somebody's looking at it, right? So encrypts it on the fly. So what does that mean? So maybe I have full access, I run a select statement, and it brings back not just, the data of my customers, like their name and their address, it also brings back their credit card information and their social security number, right? Because I have access to it. Well, if that exact same query statement is run by someone else who doesn't have access to it, it will encrypt things like social security number and credit card number on the fly. So it will literally intercept the SQL statement, change those columns that are considered secure, and actually encrypt the data so the user sees something that's not legible for them. Right? So it's a way of actually adding detail security to your tables that you have now. So without removing them, because a lot of times if you remove access to a column, certain things people use who have access will break, and this makes sure that doesn't happen. So literally, you can go on the database side, do a few clicks here and there, and this person or this group of people only get the encrypted version of Social Security number or salary or a health status, while another person will actually get the real data. And it doesn't touch the actual data in the database itself. That core data is still there. What it does is it really encrypts it on the fly. So it's in-memory encryption. It's pretty slick. Data Risk Manager, all right? So again, identify high-value, business-sensitive information assets, visualize potential risks and business risk evaluation, and then, of course, communicate data risk information across your team. This is great. It's kind of like an easy button. You hit go, and it literally will scan your system and looks at different threats for you. And again, everything's in a nice little dashboard like you can see here over the right. So it helps you identify, visualize the area that has a problem, and then allows you to easily communicate with the rest of your team. Again, this is all part of that Guardium suite. Okay. Then there's Guardium Analyzer, and this is SaaS-based, right? So you're not going to be able to install this on-prem. The other ones come in on-prem or cloud version. This one's only going to be in the cloud, so it's SaaS only. So efficiently find and classify regulated data. So the classification engine, what it does is it literally goes through each and every table you have in your database, assuming you want it to. It'll look at each column. It'll look at a certain amount of rows, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever you actually set it to. It'll scan that data, and the AI engine will determine that this should be, secured as classified. This should not be, based upon your criteria. So it'll recognize a phone number. It'll recognize a credit card number. It'll recognize a salary, a Social Security number, any and everything like that. And it'll come back and it'll give you a recommendation of what to lock down, what not to lock down. It'll give you essentially a report that tells you what all your PII information is. This way you actually know. Rather than going through all these different databases and all these different systems, you just let Guardium Analyzer go for it, and it'll just rip through everything. Right? And then again, the risk assessment, a lot of it is HIPAA compliance, CCPA, I was saying CCAA, my bad. So that's California Protection Act, CCPA, GDPR is Europe, there's a couple other ones in there, PCI, LGPD. So there's a ton of different regulations, and all that auditing is built in, and this will actually tell you where your risk assessment is for all this data that's now secured. And then, of course, you take action. And it gives you remediation recommendations based upon what it sees. So it's very proactive. It scans the data, looks for holes in your system, scans your data, classifies your data in your system, and then depending on what it looks like, it'll literally say, all right, I want you to do this, I recommend this. Then you look at it and decide whether it's valid or not valid. Right. But the key is that it's not a manual process. The system is going through and doing this on its own. You can, but do you really want to? It's just too difficult, right? An ERP system has probably 3,000 tables in it. Your other systems, you combine them all together, you have probably 10, 20,000 tables. Nobody's going to go through all those. And you shouldn't have to. We'll let the system do it for you. Right. But of course, big data intelligence. So you've got big data things that you need to hook into. Hadoop's kind of a big one, right? And so this is kind of an add-on as well. It enables things like longer data retention periods. All right, so you could be big data for a couple of reasons, right? You could be big data because you're just pulling in a lot of data every day, but it could be big data because you have a long amount of storing of data. And what this will do is this will be able to actually connect to your data lake and be able to actually retain data for long periods of time. So that kind of puts in that big data category as well. Right. I think the biggest thing is that it hooks into things like your data lake versus a standard traditional database. So that being said, it's kind of an overview of the product itself. I kind of want to get into the Cloud Paks. So again, if you're familiar with anything and everything IBM is going this Cloud Pak route. So there's a Cloud Pak for security. Before that, there was a Cloud Pak for data. It contained databases, analytics, ETL tools, things like that. This Cloud Pak for data contains a whole bunch of IBM security. So not just Guardium, but a lot of other products as well. All right, security is fragmented, disconnected, and exacerbated by multi-cloud. So not only are people going to the cloud, but they're not really putting all their eggs in the one basket. Some are doing a combo of IBM, Azure, AWS, Google. So not only taking their data from their data center, they're putting it in somebody else's data center at multiple different vendors. All right, so it's a security nightmare. What if security were unified and connected? Connect openly, connect data, connect workflows. Right, so that's the whole purpose of these Cloud Paks. So Cloud Pak for security. Let's kind of go into it. It's the software, very similar to what you would install on-prem, but it's all containerized now. So if you're familiar with containerization, probably should just review that concept quickly. So everybody's usually familiar with VMware. So you create a VM image, you kind of boot it up. You create an image, you can have Windows on it, Linux, Unix, whatever, then you install the software on it. VM images are great because it's really easy to just spin up a brand new server and then install everything on it. The problem with VM images is, one, the operating system is built in. So you've got a lot of redundant operating systems. So you're running Linux on top of Linux, right, or Windows on top of Linux. It's always running on top of something else. And that's an overhead that slows it down. That's one. Other problem is that you're doing the install, right? So if I'm installing a product on a VM, I've got to maintain the operating system. I've got to maintain that product itself. I've got fixed packs. I have to keep up with it all the time. And that's, one product. Well, if it's 10 products, 20 products, right? And so the concept of the containerization is you don't install anymore. You install something called Docker, which runs the containers, and that's it. Right, it actually runs on OpenShift now because IBM acquired Red Hat, and so they also acquired OpenShift. So now all you do is you just spin up a container, and that container could be version, 2.0. Well, if 2.5 comes out, you just shut down that container, put in a new image, and then start that container up. So it's thinning out the amount of resources you need, because you don't have the operating system on each of these VMs. There's no VMs at all. And it's eliminating the need to do upgrades. You're kind of doing an upgrade, but barely now. It's almost like it's just a swap out. If I want to upgrade a product, I'll give a client an SOW. I'll say, well, it'll take me 2 weeks for each environment. You've got 3 environments, so it's 6 weeks worth of work. Right? If it's containerized, I'm going to come in one day, I'm going to swap out your old images for your new, restart everything up, and you're done. There's really no engagement services anymore. It's putting the upgrade services kind of out of business a little bit. Not totally out of business, but 6 weeks is now turning into a day. Now, a 3-month upgrade is probably going to be like a week because you're not installing software anymore. There is no run setup.exe or install that whatever or /setup. You're just running a container, and that container is designed for that operating system, typically Linux, and it's pre-installed. Like everything's in there. You literally just start it up. And if you want a new version or a new fixed pack or something like that, you don't install the fixed pack. You just swap out the old image for the new. That's the whole philosophy around containerization. And it works. So we installed it one client in one day. Normally, all the products that came with it would probably take a team of people 2 to 3 months to install. Right? One day, up, running, all your servers are good to go. You still have to add the client pieces separately, but everything on that server is up, running, and done. And so this is designed for the cloud as well because it's very simple to take that container and move it from on-prem to the cloud, whether it's Amazon's, IBM's, Google's, on-prem again, your own private cloud. You're not installing things in different places. You can literally just shift over Hence the term OpenShift, shift over the image from one environment to another, or the container. All right, so that's the whole purpose of these Cloud Paks. All right, some other advantages of it. So I did it from an IT perspective. As somebody who does upgrades, that's a massive advantage to me. From a user perspective, there's a lot of upgrades as well and a lot of advantages. Unified interface and design system, right? So the front-end interface for everything in Cloud Pak for security is going to be the same. So when you log in to one, you're really logging into everything. So you don't have to worry about learning everything, have the same look and that same feel. So from a user perspective, it's going to be a better actual experience than if you didn't have the Cloud Paks. Right. Outcome-driven solutions, out of the box, ability to address security workflows. It's like a little bit of everything. It comes with all the security kind of built in. A few things are some add-ons. But what's nice is it kind of actually gives you a chance to try something you might actually not want to use, you might not have or not want to buy right away. Hybrid multi-cloud platform, as I was saying before, it's very easy to just shift these containers from one environment to another. All right, if I have everything installed on AWS and I want to take all those apps and move them to Azure, I would have to uninstall them in one, install them in the other, and it would take months and who knows what. Now I just literally shift all those containers over, and I go from Microsoft to AWS in a matter of days or hours versus weeks and months. Open partner ecosystems, big one too. Everything is open. So if you have something that's that needs to connect to anything inside the Cloud Pak for security, it can. It's completely open. It's designed to hook in anything and have anything hook into it. So it's a very open platform. IBM is pretty known for that. Right. So again, the unified interface. And it works anywhere and everywhere. It's perfect. And again, open integration with existing security tools. So QRadar, Guardium, obviously, BigFix, McAfee, AWS, all these guys it actually hooks right into. Federated search and investigation. All right, so this is one of the features that's in there, or one of the actual use cases based upon the features that are in there. So you'll run a query against multiple data sources while keeping the data at rest. So it has this kind of federated search, so it's able to actually go out to all your different data sources at once. So you don't have to go anywhere. So if there's different databases, different logs, you want to go to all of them, you can just go to this one interface and it'll connect to anything and everything behind the scenes. So it literally connects to the data under the covers, but doesn't have to bring all the data back. It's some type of virtualization built in. And then you can actually use your own SDKs to enhance it if you wanted to. Instant response, so it speeds up your time. All right, so for total revenue, IBM is the #1 security vendor. So Guardium, with all the others combined, IBM sells more security software than pretty much anyone and everyone globally. They have a product for everything, everything integrates, and then with the Cloud Paks, they're even more integrated together. So IBM is obviously a leader throughout the world. Any country where IBM delivers managed security services, is pretty much all the ones I know of. 12,000 plus clients, 90% of the Fortune 100 companies are using IBM software for security. So it's kind of a high-level spiel. And here's some information. So if you want to actually go to the IBM website itself, you can go to any of these different URLs for some more info, and we'll share this slide deck with anybody, so you don't have to write that down. And I think that's it. Anyone have any questions? Yep, so Guardium is available on the cloud or on-prem, so it doesn't matter where your data resides. You can secure it and we go into details about what your actual infrastructure looks like, but it'll work, again, no matter where you are. And if you're on-prem and you're moving to the cloud, this will move with you for your journey. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay. Well, that's kind of an overview of Guardium. Again, it secures all of your data sources, whether it's a data lake, a database, file system. It's one interface. And then if you decide to add other IBM security products, there's going to be integration with all of those as well. It's going to be able to encrypt your data. It's going to help with auditing. It's going to help with GDPR, CCPA, and any and every other kind of compliance regulation that comes through the door. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me directly. But the team will be sending the slide deck to you as well, so you can take a look at it and just let me know what you think. All right. Well, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it, and good luck with security. Thanks.